There are 5 core skills that every guy needs if he wants to attract women in 2025. And I'm going to break down all 5 of these skills in this video. You're going to want to make sure you stay till the end because all of these skills, they build on top of each other. And when you put them all together, they achieve a very powerful effect to get reactions like this.
Oh, and
Got
then, like,
it.
you just hang in Nashville and like have the time. So that's what I'm doing.
How long are you here?
Till Thursday.
Thursday. Okay, we got time.
We got
for this
time.
to blossom into just a crazy romance and give you a reason to come back.
Okay.
I think. Okay.
good.
Yeah. I'll just give you my number.
So the first skill you need to have in order to attract women in 2025 is to be good at small talk. You cannot have boring small talk, and small talk is actually a skill that you can learn as any guy. You don't need to be particularly charismatic or interesting to be good at small talk. There are 2 key rules that I follow in order to be good at small talk. So we're going to talk about this over here. So the first key to good small talk is 1, plan out what you're going to ask. Just plan out the questions. Have 3 questions in mind that you know you're going to ask. I always ask where she's from. I always ask about work. And I always ask what she does for fun. The reason I ask these is because I want her to ask the same questions back. That's it. I want her to ask where I'm from. So I can say, oh, I'm back from Missouri. And I don't say I'm from Missouri and it's boring there and it sucks. I'm from Missouri. I grew up my whole life there. And my business actually got to a point where I could move wherever I wanted. And so I decided I wanted to move here. That was absolutely massive because now I'm talking about my business. Then I might ask, what do you do for work? At some point in the conversation, she's probably going to ask me the same question as well. So I'll just say, oh, I'm a dating coach for men. And then she's going to ask another question about that. Oh yeah, I help guys with confidence and social skills. It's really fucking fulfilling, honestly. I love my job. And so I get to talk like I'm a guy that's ambitious. I have goals. I run my own business. I get to talk about these things. And you can do the exact same thing if you get good at framing these things. So that is step number 1. Just have questions planned out. 3 questions. And she's going to ask you those questions as well. And just have answers that frame you positively. They don't even need to be incredibly charismatic and badass and crazy stories. Just make sure you're not framing them negatively. Like, I live with my parents while I'm in law school. That sucks. You should say, oh, I'm in law school right now. I'm going to be a lawyer. Even if you just say that, that is so much better already. Step number 2 to getting good at small talk is to get really good at personal input. And the reason that this is so important is because when you're good at personal input, it shows a lot of confidence. A guy that is confident is probably very open and proud about all parts of his life. So he's open and quick to tell stories from his past. Whenever I talk about this tattoo, I always talk about how I was a massive nerd, a massive fucking loser, and how I grew out of that through just being ambitious. And I actually learned a lot of really valuable life lessons through playing video games. And so I'll tell her about, oh man, I was like so addicted to World of Warcraft, but I loved it at the time. It was so good. It taught me so many lessons. And now I've like carried that forward into my business. Or, oh yeah, I was always playing video games. I was like that kid that would never do his homework and I would always play video games, but I would still get like A's and B's because I was really smart in school. And so it was pretty easy for me to kind of skate by and like get used to that. And when I'm quick to have personal input, and this might take some practice, but I'll also be able to tell stories about anything that comes up. So I actually approached a girl yesterday at the mall and she has very similar tattoos to my friend Lauren. And so I said, oh yeah, your tattoos, they really remind me of my friend Lauren. They're like very, very similar, like the patchwork type of style. I really like it. And just by having an open thought process and being able to say the first thoughts that come out of my head, I'm now saying that like, hey, I'm not weird around women. I have female friends. I'm not this fucking incel that only approaches girls to hit on them. I actually, I have a female friend. And I'm not weird around women. That's the implication there. And that's very, very powerful. And I did it almost on accident because I'm very quick to be open about my life. So the second skill that you need to get better with women in 2025 is alpha body language. Now, alpha body language is not being this fucking giga chad that's like squaring up all the time and you look sick. Alpha body language is actually a couple different factors. And I'm going to break it down right now. So number 1, relaxed. Okay, you need to be relaxed. So if you're not relaxed, you can't be alpha. You can't be really in control. Because really, like, an alpha male is just a guy that is in control and dominant in the interaction. And dominance actually being calm and relaxed and not being affected by external stimulus too much, just kind of being focused on what am I doing right now? I'm fully present. that is a very attractive alpha behavior, and it's very critical. So the first thing you need to do is relax in your interactions. One really good tip that I've gotten for this is let's make a little man here. The distance between your earlobe and your shoulder, just maximize that. So I'll do it actually on camera now. So just maximize it where your shoulders are completely dropped and your head is straight up and down. Stop hunching. And this actually literally makes me feel more confident when I do it. There's like a physiological response. You can try it while you're watching the video. But this will really help you. And also trying to take your hands out away from your body and speak more openly and be more relaxed. One massive tip, honestly, that I got when I was like 20 was to just kind of manspread. You know how people always complain about manspreading? You actually want to manspread. You kind of want to spread out and just relax. I literally will do that when I'm on the phone. I'll like pretend like this piece of paper is my phone. I'll just be like chilling when I'm on the phone with a girl, and I'll just be like this, and I'll actively try to like sit back, relax, control my breath. So relax is the first piece of really alpha body language. The second piece is slow. Slow down your movements and also slow down your rate of speech. It's like a little bonus for you. Slow down your rate of speech and just let the words come out at variable paces. Don't be afraid to stop and pause and give her time to catch up to what you're saying. You don't have to be talking a million miles an hour. She's not going to run away. And there's a reason that slow, relaxed body language works really well, where you have your feet planted, you're not moving. I'll just say FP, feet planted, not moving. And it's because there is a very unattractive, gross trait that girls hate. And that gross trait is fear of loss. If you have high fear of loss, if you show a lot of fear of loss, it's very unattractive because it shows, man, maybe I shouldn't be with this guy because I'm looking for cues that I should or shouldn't like him. And if he doesn't think that I should like him, if he thinks I'm going to walk away at any second, maybe he has something else planned. Maybe he's not actually as interesting or as cool or as dateable as I thought he was. And so when you plant your feet, you talk slow, you trust, and this is really the key thing, is trust she will stay. When you trust she will stay, I promise you, 90% of the time she actually will. It's almost like a magnetic field. Like I'll actually approach a girl and she'll be unsure about me and she'll be kind of walking away, right? She'll take one step this way. I'm standing still. She'll take one step this way, then look back. Then she'll take another step really slowly, then look back. And then she'll take one more step kind of slowly again, even slower. She'll look back and then she'll loop back around and talk to me. And that's when I'm stopping a girl on the street. This happens a lot. And the only reason she does this loop is because I have relaxed, slow, and feet planted body language. It helps with this if you're making strong eye contact and you're relaxed and you have a smile on your face, but we'll get to that in a second. The third skill you need to get good with women in 2025 is a lighthearted personality. This kind of goes back to the alpha body language because a lot of guys, when they try to be more alpha and dominant, they take themselves way too fucking seriously. And the least alpha thing, if I had to make a list of non-alpha behaviors, would be fragility, which if you take yourself too seriously, you're going to overreact. You're going to be very fragile. You're not going to be able to move very much. If the girl shit tests you, you are fucked up. You're really fucked up because you're fragile. And so when you have this lighthearted personality where you don't take things too seriously, it's not that big of a deal. You're not looking for signs of, is this girl disrespecting me? And you're only really setting clear boundaries around actual disrespect. Or maybe you do set boundaries, but it's in a very lighthearted way. So say I'm talking and the girl cuts me off. I could smile and say, hey, don't cut me off. Wait, who do you think you are? That is playful. That is actually alpha. That is non-reactive. That is a lighthearted personality at work. But if I say, hey, I won't let women talk to me like that. I don't let people do that to me. That shows fragility. It shows low self-esteem. It shows low confidence. And when you feel like this girl that you never met can actually disrespect you, like you actually feel disrespected that much when it's a girl you've never met before in your life, and you take her opinion so seriously, that is very unattractive, and it shows a lot of fragility. That's why the red pill for really nice guys can be pretty good at first, because it helps you with setting boundaries, not being a pushover, not being a pussy, going for what you want. But eventually, if you're already kind of a dick or you're already kind of alpha, then the red pill's pretty bad because it turns you into a fragile loser like Myron Gaines, right? Myron Gaines, fresh and fit, not good. A better example of like an alpha personality is probably a guy like Michael Sartain, who's another guy in the space. He's very relaxed, very lighthearted. I think Alex from Playing with Fire is also kind of in that same realm of he's just goofy. He has a goofy personality. He doesn't take things too seriously, but he also isn't going to let people walk all over him. He's going to go into confrontation. There's a certain level of flexibility that you need if you want an actual alpha personality. The fourth skill you need in 2025 to get better with women is humor. Now, you don't need to be the funniest guy on the planet, but you do need to make fun of her a little bit. You need to almost have a humorous personality. You need to have some sort of sense of humor. If you have no sense of humor, which I've definitely fallen into in the past because I'm, going so hard into self-improvement and taking myself so fucking seriously, I would just watch a lot of comedy and try to make jokes. The problem I see with a lot of guys that try to get funnier is they're afraid to bomb. So you can't be afraid to bomb, all right? Not afraid to bomb. It's okay. If your joke doesn't land, it's okay. Sometimes you can tell a joke and it isn't funny and people don't think it's funny. And then if you can laugh at the fact that that was the shittiest joke I've ever told in my entire life, I promise I'm funnier than that, it is so much better. It goes back to just not being a fragile, fake alpha type of douchebag, basically. Just have a really strong level. If you can display a really strong level of self-esteem, self-confidence, that's a very, very powerful thing. There are actually a few formats you can use to become funnier, and I actually work with my clients directly, if you want to apply down below, on how to become funnier, how to unlock more of their personality. But one way that I'll just give away right now is to take things that she says really literally. So if she says like an idiom, I don't know if this is an idiom or not, but if she says, let's not beat around the bush, you could literally say, cool, I actually want to beat the fuck out of the bush. I want to beat the fuck out of that bush. It's pissing me off. That could be a, slightly funny thing. It's not the funniest thing in the world, but you can actually bring in that kind of sense of humor into your interactions. And that really helps with lightening the mood, showing you're not taking it too seriously. And going back to this fear of loss stuff, it basically shows no fear of loss. If you're okay with bombing or making a dumb joke and then laughing at it, it shows no fear of loss. It's very attractive. Now, the fifth and final skill you need to get good with women in 2025 is unfiltered communication. And there's an exercise I want to give you for this. But what I want you to think about with unfiltered communication is this is your brain and this is your mouth. This is where the words come out. Here's your eyes. And for some reason, you're kind of angry. So in your mind, you have these different thoughts, okay? All of these are potential things that you could say. Now, the problem is that some of these are more risky than others. These ones way at the back, these are locked in jail, okay? These never come out. These are the edgy jokes, the risky jokes, making a joke. An example here would be if a girl said, oh, I don't want you to think I'm fat, and then you go, oh, well, I don't want to say anything. That would be funny, and that'd be very risky to say. It'd be a very polarizing thing to say. You actually probably should say that because I think that would be a funny thing to say. But these are locked in jail. If you're a nice guy, these are never coming out. Then we have the slightly less funny things to say. These are more like personal input, stories from your past that you kind of have locked away, but they're a little risky. You might be judged for some of these things. So you have these filters, they're locked in jail, okay? And the only thing left that's not in jail is these little shitty things that are like interview questions. How are you? What are you up to? Playing it safe. Oh, I'm good. How are you? Super bad, right? We don't want to use these things. So what we need to do is unlock from jail these different thoughts. And there's an exercise that you can do to unlock these thoughts. What I'm going to want you to do, guys, is set a timer for 5 minutes. And we're going to talk forever. And you're going to try to get super, super retarded with it, okay? I'll do a quick example for 30 seconds. All right, I'm looking at the timer on my camera right now. what I want you to do is set the timer for 5 minutes and just talk. And you want to try to touch on as many topics as possible and almost talk in a completely illogical way for the whole 5 minutes. So I'm going to start in about 3 seconds. So one thing about me that's funny is that I take ashwagandha for, I don't know, to make my pee hard or something. I'm not really sure what it's supposed to do, but it does help with testosterone, which is something that I was really insecure about. And speaking of guys that are really insecure, I mentioned Myron Gaines earlier, and Myron Gaines is definitely an insecure little child because I saw a video. Because actually, there was a video that I did a few weeks ago on his game inside of like Cheyenne Reynolds or something. She has a show, and it was not good. He was super try hard and like very reactive. It was super cringe. I'm actually going on a panel with a guy that doesn't like him, Alex from Playing with Fire tonight, with Michael Sartain, Austin Summers, and Marcus Wolf. I'm super excited for that. It should be super cool. And I'm being kind of lame, man. I want to talk about penguins or rhinos or hippopotamus or something. That Christmas song is actually pretty good. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. That's a good one. So I'm in a super logical head state. I've been working on this video and blah, 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 all this bullshit, right? I've been showing you guys all this stuff, breaking down all this stuff. But immediately at the end, I started realizing I'm being kind of boring. And I started bringing in more personality. And that is what you can do if you actually push yourself to unlock these parts of your personality. So if you do anything this year, okay, if you want to get better with women, get better at small talk, get better at your body language, get better at having a lighthearted personality, taking yourself less seriously, get funnier, and unfilter yourself more. A lot of these are very tied together. If you want to work with me directly, and I'll show you exactly how to do all of these things inside my program through a custom 8-week program that we'll walk through together and work very closely together on, then you can apply down in the description. If not, it's all good. Stick with the content, the free shit. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.